All right, so I'm Sumeet. I am the Chief Operating Officer for Electra EV. We are a company that has been a pioneer of sorts in terms of introducing electric vehicles and electric mobility in India, starting way back in 2017 when the very first EESL tenders came out from the government of India to electrify the sedan market. And in fact, we were kind of getting started right at that time, and nobody had in fact even imagined that Electra EV would even come and partner with a company like Tata Motors, and the tender would eventually get awarded to them. So the tender did come to us, and that was the genesis of Electra EV. So today, in terms of what we do as a company, we make electric powertrains, and we enable the electric mobility ecosystem by not just limiting ourselves to, say, things like batteries or maybe some other figments of the entire powertrains of electric vehicles, but we do the whole thing actually. And the whole thing kind of came about in a way that when we started our journey with Tata Motors, they didn't have, or rather in general in India, the ecosystem of electric vehicles was not that prevalent. Therefore, what we thought of doing for Tata Motors was to enable this ecosystem by giving them a plug-and-play kind of a kit, which included the likes of batteries, the motor controllers and the gearboxes, and all the peripheral parts that come along with it, which include things like the charging intakes, slow charging intakes, the fast charging intakes, and the complete integrated platform of sorts, which if you were in a very raw form, think about it, was just removing the older powertrain, the petrol or diesel powertrain, and plug it in with a kit which electrifies the vehicle. So that's what we do. It's been a long journey for us in terms of the ecosystem, the way it has come about. Therefore, we consider ourselves as pioneers in that sense. But today we work, outside of Tata Motors, we work with a bunch of other OEMs and startup OEMs and also mature OEMs. And even within Tata Motors, we're working on a lot of other programs. We recently, after the very first Tata Tigor that we electrified for Tata Motors with a 72-volt architecture, we very recently, in the last year, we launched the Ace EV, which came at a 96-volt configuration, which has started to hit the ground, even with the very recently awarded PLI on this electric powertrain and for the full vehicle as such. So we see that we are enabling this ecosystem in a very, very good way. And with all the consolidated data that we've accumulated in all these last 6 to 7 odd years, we see ourselves at a pivotal point when we'll be in a position to contribute in a much bigger way to this ecosystem, to enable this in a much faster way, in a way that it sees itself in a very, very glorious terms, in terms of the uptake, in terms of adoption, and in terms of the fulfilling the bigger greener objectives that we all want this earth to have. Excellent. I think this has begun right at the time when the ecosystem is kind of beginning to kind of warm up. And it almost is as though this is enabling the entire ecosystem in a way that it brings together people, it brings together the suppliers and the people who want those supplies to be used. And it's an enabler of sorts, in the sense that if you see that for example, if I had to give you an example, I was here yesterday and I was able to meet some of my suppliers, and actually we got a deal done yesterday. So it's as good as that. So it's good to see a lot of like-minded people coming together under one umbrella called ETAuto. And I wish that this becomes even bigger and bigger with the times to come. And I'm sure that many people who get associated with this, even the newcomers, will see the benefit of that association. And in the times to come, I think this is going to be a reckoning force in the media outlets to know. I mean, if somebody's talking about ETAuto and if something is being spoken of in ETAuto, that could become the gospel of truth in that sense. So I have very high regards for this platform.